Morning everyone, I hope you had a lovely weekend. We're going to carry on with our learning from last week for our English. So do you remember we're doing a mini discrete learning experience about the book The Way Back Home. Where have I put it on my desk? There it is. The Way Back Home. And you remember our author is, can you shout out to the screen if you remember who our author is? That's right, it's Oliver Jeffers. Fantastic, well done. So we're doing our story all about the way back home. And for our outcome, what are we going to do? What is it that we're working towards? Why are we learning this? I wonder if you could call out to the screen, what is it that we're going to do at the end with our writing? What are we going to do? I wonder if you've remembered or whether you've forgotten over the weekend. But what we're going to do is we're going to write an alternative ending to our story, The Way Back Home, aren't we? We're going to write a different ending. So in this story, the boy lands on the moon, he meets the Martian, they both work on fixing each other's engines, and then they go fly on their way back home, don't they, to different places. But we're going to write a different ending to this story, and then we're going to send your different endings to your different class friends that you have, so you can all read each other's alternative endings. So we're going to use two different types of apostrophe in our writing, aren't we? I wonder if you can remember what those two different types are called. Can you call out to the screen for me? What are the two types of apostrophe called? We've got the and the. Hopefully you said we've got the contracted form of an apostrophe and we've got the possessive apostrophe. I wonder what those two meant. Can you remember? What was the contracted form? What was the contracted form? What did that mean? Have a think and then call out to the screen for me. Hopefully you said that contracted form is when you've got two words, but they are joined together to make one word using an apostrophe to get rid of some of the letters. Hopefully you said something along those lines. So then we've got our second type of apostrophe, the possessive apostrophe. What did that mean? What do we use a possessive apostrophe for? Call out to the screen to me when you remember. So hopefully you said that the possessive apostrophe is used to show when something belongs to someone, doesn't it? So Mrs. Clark's new sofa, for example. Do you remember? We're going to use those two apostrophe types in our alternative ending writing. That is our aim. So that our writing is the best it can be, we are going to use those two types of apostrophes. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start to plan what we're going to write our alternative ending about. So I'm really excited. You're going to get your brains working and come up with some fantastic ideas as to how you would end this story if it was up to you. So let me share my screen with you to show you how we're going to do this. There we go. Right, so today we're going to plan our story. That's what we're going to do. So we haven't really got a learning objective today. We're just going to do a task. We're going to plan our story. That's what we need to do. It's something we need to just break away from what we're learning about to be able to do that so that we can come back to using our apostrophes. So we're going to use our bubble map to help us to plan our story. Now we planned our Jill Murphy story on the way home like this. So hopefully you'll be used to doing that and you remember how we did it. So let me show you. So in the middle of your bubble map, you're going to have The Way Back Home, which is the name of our story, isn't it? So our story is going to be called the same, The Way Back Home. And you're going to have the beginning of the story at the same. So you're going to have once there was a boy, so you don't need to write all this out, but this is the beginning of your story. Once there was a boy, and one day he was putting his things back in the cupboard and he found an aeroplane. He didn't remember leaving it in there, but he thought he'd take it out for a go right away. The plane lifted off the ground up into the sky, higher and higher and higher. Suddenly the plane spluttered. It had run out of petrol. Now the boy was stuck on the moon. What was he to do? So that is where your story is going to stop. And then your alternative ending is going to start. So in your first bubble, I have put, now the boy was stuck on the moon, what was he to do? So can you pause the video now and start your bubble map? All I want you to do is put the way back home in the middle. And then your first bubble above that, like mine, says, now the boy was stuck on the moon, what was he to do? So pause the video now and complete that part of the bubble map. Right, now it's time to think of your own ideas. So you're going to go through bubble by bubble, building on your next event in your story. So you might need to just have a little think before you start your next bubble as to what is going to happen. So the boy is now on the moon and he has stuck. He is stuck. So what's going to happen next? Anything can happen next. That's up to you. It's your imagination. So I'm going to talk you through my ideas and then you're going to have a go at coming up with your ideas. So my idea. Now the boy was stuck on the moon. What was he to do? My next box. Somewhere else, an astronaut was in a rocket trying to land on the moon. So in my mind, there is an astronaut flying around on a mission to try and land on the moon, a bit like Neil Armstrong. So he was flying around on the moon. That was my next bubble. Then the astronaut landed safely on the moon and he met the boy. So instead of the Martian, there's no Martian in my story, it's an astronaut instead. And the astronaut meant to land on the moon. So he's landed for his mission and he's met the boy. My next bubble. The astronaut asked the boy if he wanted to explore the moon with him. So he asked the boy, do you want to come on my mission with me? Do you want to explore the moon with me? And the boy said, yes, he did. So my next bubble says, they found an alien. So down in the corner here, they found when they went and did their mission to explore the moon, they found an alien, they found a crater full of cheese, and they found mountains of marshmallows. So this is just my plan. So when I write my story, I'm going to expand on what happens a bit more when they meet the alien, find the crater full of cheese, and the mountains of marshmallows. So I'm just planning. So this is just a little bit of information. I don't need to think too much in depth as to what's going to happen. Right, then my next box, after all that had happened, eventually they arrived back at the astronaut's rocket and he gave the boy a lift home. So he's left his aeroplane on the moon, he's gone back with the astronaut. And my final box, final bubble. When they arrived back on Earth, the boy went his way and the astronaut went back into space, both on their way back home. So you can see my story ends really similarly to Oliver Jeffers' version, where they both end up going back home. So your task today is to complete your own bubble map like mine. But you need to come up with your own ideas. So who is the boy going to meet on the moon? What is he going to meet on the moon? And then what's going to happen next? So remember, this is only a plan. So you just want the key points. You don't need lots and lots of information about what's going to happen. This is a plan. And when you write your version, that's when you're going to add in all of your extra information. Okay? Now, when you do your plan, try and include an apostrophe for possession. Try and include a contracted apostrophe. And try and remember your conjunctions and adventurous vocabulary. Okay? So, pause the video now. Have a go at your plan. And remember just the key events, so it shouldn't take you too long, so you're just doing the key events, and then come back to the video for our reflection. Off you go. Right, well done. Oh, I'm so excited to receive all these plans and see what your brains have come up with, because you've got some amazing writing brains in dragonflies, and I'm sure you have in butterflies too, so I'm so excited to read what you've all come up with. So let's reflect now, like we do at the end of every English lesson, on how we are working towards our outcome and how we have shown our character trait of resilience. So I'd like you to go ahead and do that in a second, but my ideas, so I use the word astronauts in my plan, and I use the possessive apostrophe, because if we look at my plan, I was talking about the astronaut's rocket, so the rocket belonged to the astronaut. And I also now know what I am going to write for my alternative ending. So I know I've worked towards my outcome because I've got to write that alternative ending, and now I know the bare bones of what that's going to look like. And for my resilience, when I was thinking, I haven't got a natural writer's brain like some of you do, so I found it quite hard to think of what other person or what other thing might the boy meet on the moon. But once I had thought about the fact it was going to be an astronaut, all my ideas started to flow, and now I'm actually really proud of my plan. And I'm proud that it didn't take me that long, because once my ideas were flowing, I then managed to complete my plan quite quickly. So I'm really proud of my resilience for that. I overcame that hurdle, and then it all got a lot easier. So can you pause the video now and do your reflection, and then come back for one final thing I'd like you to do. Off you go. Right, last thing. We haven't done this yet, but I would like us to think, now we've done our plan and we're happy with it, what are our next steps? So when we actually come to write our alternative ending, is there anything we need to make sure we remember to do next time? So I read back through my plan and I thought to myself, because it's just a rough plan, great, I'm really proud of it. But my next steps are to make sure I use both types of apostrophe, because in my plan I've only got the possessive type. And I think I need to make sure I remember to use my adventurous vocabulary, because I haven't included that so much in my plan, and I want to make sure in my writing I really do that. So that's for me personally. It might be different for you, because you might have used both forms in your plan and you might have used adventurous vocabulary, but that's my next steps. So I wonder if you can just go away and just write one sentence or two sentences about what you think your next steps are from your plan that you're going to then use in your writing. I'm so excited, like I said, to receive these plans. Well done, everybody. I hope you enjoy doing those tasks and have enjoyed doing those tasks. And tomorrow, I think we move on to actually writing the alternative endings. That's so exciting. Right, I will see you tomorrow for all that excitement. Bye.